Hey guys, Tavis Piattoly, sports dietitian with the Taylor Hooten Foundation. Today's topic, we're going to talk about recovery. Now, we see a lot of different things to promote recovery, but first of all, let's discuss what recovery is because it's kind of used incorrectly in a lot of the different promotions I see, whether it's on social media, whether it's by, Instagram, professionals. There's a lot of different things that we're using to try to sell something when we're trying to promote recovery. Recovery is a big word, and it means a lot of different things, especially when we're looking at athletic performance. So I look at recovery in three different phases. Specifically, muscle glycogen recovery. That's one thing. When we eat carbohydrates, it goes into our muscle glycogen and our liver glycogen. This is like our gas tank for our body. And when we exercise, we utilize the glycogen and carbohydrate from the liver and the muscle. So when we train, we actually deplete it. So in order to recover, that is one area we're going to focus on today, is what can we do to repair that. So muscle glycogen and liver glycogen in our storage to have exercise is one form of recovery. Number two is muscle recovery. When we lift weights and we train at an intense level, we break down muscle tissue, and in order to recover, we need protein and carbohydrates after. So that's another topic of recovery, is the breakdown of muscle tissue and facilitating muscle recovery. And the final piece of really the recovery process is going to really be focused on inflammation and muscle soreness. So when we disrupt protein, when we disrupt muscle fibers, we have a lot of muscle soreness that happens, and we have inflammation in the body, which creates a lot of that pain and soreness post-workout. So we're going to discuss a few strategies that can help recover in those specific instances. Now, let's talk about number one, glycogen recovery. As we talked about, this is depleting the body of carbohydrate storage. It's like taking your car and driving from, whether it's Seattle to Miami or whatever, you're expending a lot of fuel from the body, and in order to do that, we have to recover by putting that fuel back in. There is a lot of misinformation provided to high intense athletes to not eat carbs and strictly focus on fat, and that's not a very educated and intelligent message to give to our athletes when training at an intense level. Every study has shown low carbohydrates do not fuel high intensity performance. So it makes no sense to put butter in the coffee and to put MCT oil if you're going to try to train extremely intensely. So after you deplete those muscle glycogen stores and you're training at a very intense level, we need carbohydrates. If there is a place, because we hear so much demonizing sugar, if there is a place to have sugar in fast-acting carbs, it's right after exercise. This is where the sugar gets to the muscle quicker. It increases insulin, and when you combine that with protein, then we get faster recovery. So after your workout, chocolate milk is a great recovery aid because it's got sugar, it's got carbs, and it also has protein to help the body recover faster. There's a lot of different things we can do, whether that's make a smoothie with protein and carbs and fruit, whether that's have a sandwich and have some protein and milk. There's a lot of different recovery beverages. There's no, this is the best recovery, because you have to look at the individual, what they can tolerate. So there's no best recovery. There's a lot of different things on the market that I think have good science to support. At the same time, we have to figure out what works best for you. Number two is muscle protein breakdown in muscle breakdown after you lift weights. When we lift weights, we don't build muscle, we break it down. In order to build muscle and grow the tissue, we have to eat enough calories, but we also have to make sure that we eat enough protein throughout the day. Now, what has been debunked and kind of the science has changed is we don't actually need protein right after we consume. If we're trying to gain weight, then yes, we need to get enough calories in, and it's important to get enough protein and get protein right after so we're not missing out on meals. If the goal is not to build muscle, or if the goal is not to gain weight, then we don't have to hurry up, and there's not that 2-hour window where if we don't get it in, we're not going to build muscle. At the end of the day, it's getting adequate protein throughout the day. So take your body weight, multiply it times 0.8. So if you're 200 pounds, you need about 160 grams of protein. But more specifically, after your workouts, get a nice 20 grams, 30 grams of whey protein. If you're a vegan, plant proteins work just as well. They do stimulate muscle protein synthesis, and it will help your body recover. What not to do is don't waste your money on branched chain amino acids, because you're only getting 3. In a scoop of whey protein, you're getting 20 amino acids. So why spend 40 to 50 bucks on branched chains when you get 3 amino acids, when you can spend the same amount on whey protein or even less and get 20 amino acids? And then the final piece of the puzzle is inflammation, muscle soreness, and muscle damage. So as we mentioned, this will disrupt the tissue after an intense training session. What can we do to help that be reduced? It's going to happen. We can't eliminate it. We don't want that to be eliminated because it's a normal process in order for the recovery process. But carbs and protein is one thing. That's one thing we can do to actually stimulate our hormones, help our muscles recover, replace glycogen, and help the body recover to have more energy for the next day's session. Now, if we look at some other evidence-based agents or supplements or units, cherry juice, tart cherry juice, or just tart cherries in general. Excellent science to support the reduction in muscle damage. A lot of our college and professional teams are giving their athletes this after a workout. So 1 cup, 2 cups of cherry juice. One thing we might not realize too is use this before bed because cherry juice increases the natural production of melatonin in the body. There's no need to take melatonin at night. We're going to be releasing a podcast soon with Dr. Meeta Singh, and we talk about why not to use melatonin as a sleep aid. Also, number 2 is omega-3 or fish oil. Omega-3 is a natural anti-inflammatory. Multiple studies to show a reduction in inflammation. So we're looking at 2 or 3 grams or 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of a triglyceride-based fish oil like a Nordic Naturals would be a really great product to use when it comes to that, to reducing inflammation. Omega-3 has a ton of other benefits as well. And also finally, turmeric or curcumin. Tons of evidence, again, when it comes to a natural anti-inflammatory. They did some studies looking at downhill runners. When we run downhill, we disrupt the quads and the hamstrings, and we cause a lot of muscle damage. So using a little bit of turmeric extract, curcumin, can also help. And this, again, like omega-3, very versatile, helps with brain health, heart health, a lot of different benefits that we should be using there. So hopefully this video was helpful. Make sure you eat a good balanced diet, and use some of the evidence-based information that we discussed. And be sure to follow us at taylorhooten.org. Have a great day.